Hello and welcome to the It's Your Effin' Journey podcast. My name is Melissa McQueenie and I'm a licensed therapist, and I am here with my first ever interview that I recorded with someone who is in Texas. So I'm so excited for this episode. My friend Megan Nance is the owner of a plant business in Texas, and I met Megan back in 2016. We both came from the network marketing company Beachbody. She was one of my very first friends within this network marketing company. And I really give her so much credit to inspiring me to be able to dream big and to be able to do things that are outside of our comfort zones and things that are scary. And she was one of my very first when I went to my very first conference, she was my roommate. And as I said, she just like whatever she set her mind to, I saw her go full throttle and try to achieve that. And, since having developed this friendship with her and this relationship since then, it's been unbelievable to see her sort of make a pivot, sort of similar to what I have done in terms of shifting from my network marketing company to my own business, which is what she's done. And this interview that I had with her, this sort of conversation, goes over a lot of business strategies and what it takes to really follow your purpose and figure out what the fuck you want to do while you're on this planet, because we have one life to live. And I know from the conversations that we've shared over the years that we have really big goals for our family and really want to leave a legacy of fortune and, helping people and just working hard. So I knew when I originally wanted to bring podcast guests on, I knew that I wanted to have her first, because I believe so much in how network marketing can create beautiful futures for people, and we just don't even know what's possible until we sort of dive into that world and focus on our growth and focus on growing ourselves personally, growing businesses. And when we get that, like, oh shit, I can do this. Or, if that person can do it, I can too. That's exactly what Megan taught me. So I'm so happy to have her on here, and I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Without further ado, I'll put this together, and here she comes. Thanks for listening, guys. Remember to take a screenshot of this podcast, share it in your social media. I appreciate your support so much. Hello, welcome to the podcast. I have my very, very first guest, Megan Nance, and I am so excited to have her here today. So I was sort of laughing to myself because I'm like, I wonder if she's like, why the hell am I your first guest, right? But when I decided that I wanted to bring podcast guests into the podcast, I immediately wanted you. I was like, I want her number one, first and foremost, because I don't think that I would ever even be here if it wasn't for you. Megan was one of my very first friends within network marketing. We were in Body together. And like, I got to tell the story about our first time when we met each other for Summit. Because I had never gone to a conference before. I had never traveled by myself before. And we met in like a message pod, right? Like a Facebook message pod. And I was terrified, right? I'm like, I'm flying to Indy, or no. Was it Indy? No, it was.
I think it was Indy. Or was it? I can't remember where it was before that, because it wasn't Nashville, it wasn't New Orleans, so I think it was Indy.
It must have been Indy. It must have been the first year of Indy. Or no, why did I feel like it? Was it Indy? Oh yeah, because then the next year we stayed in the hotel, right? I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Regardless of where it was, I was terrified. I had never been to this city, and I had never met Megan in person. But you were
so reassuring. You had been to the conferences before, you had done this thing before, and you were like, it's going to be fine. Like, everything's fine. And I was staying with you and one of the girls on your team, Ashley. Right? That's her name.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. And so, like, what a wild experience that whole thing was. Yeah, it was so much fun. But the funny thing was that at the time, I mean, I'm a runner. I was a runner then, and Megan and Ashley were super into yoga. And so one of the things from the get-go, I was like, oh my gosh, what is this going to be like? And sure enough, the minute I entered the Airbnb for the first time, I see Ashley on the back deck doing like the most intense yoga poses you could ever do. I was like,
what is this? Ashtanga.
Yes.
It's called Ashtanga yoga. Yeah.
She does like retreats now.
Yeah. Yeah. She's amazing.
Yeah. So having that experience and then building this friendship with you, I'm like, I need this to be you, because I am such a big fan of baby steps to our growth. And then watching what you've done since then, I just am so proud of you. And I just think it's such a good testament to what just being involved with personal growth can do for your life, right? Like, you were always so passionate about personal development and, all the reading that we did and just diving into the whole experience. And I just learned so much from you from the beginning. So I just want to thank you, first of all, for being that person for me, and for, pushing me to do scary things and hard things and sort of being on the receiving end of that.
Oh, well, not me getting tearful, but I don't know what to say, but I needed all that personal development to calm down the crazy anger and like self shit talk that was going on all the time.
Yeah. And you and I have similar backgrounds in mental health too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes.
So that and like, so tell me about, like, I want to hear about what you're doing now. Like, I want to hear about all of the things and how this business came about for you. Like, tell us about your business.
So I own a plant company. It's called Root to Rise Plant Company. And we specialize in indoor houseplants mainly. And we have a retail side, and then we have a service-based side of that business where we do plant care maintenance programs. We do plant styling for businesses and for residential. And then we also have an event side to that, and we do parties, we do pop-up events, we do interactive team building, and we basically do all things plants.
I love that.
So we started like 2 years now.
I was gonna say, like, this, it seems to have exploded, right? Like, you started like selling plants like in your garage, right? Like, was it in your like yard?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, in my garage.
And now you have a
store. No, I don't know. I just I share some space in a boutique. So we do have that retail side. So I don't have my own plant shop yet. That is definitely the goal that we're building towards. And yeah, there's so much about being owning a business that is just, there's just so much. There's so many things that I never knew. I mean, I didn't really feel like I knew what I was doing ever. And so I just kind of decided one day that I was going to do this, because it's funny when I think back, like, plants have always been a part of my life. And when I was in college 20 years ago, that was a hobby of mine. And I loved like vintage stuff, like thrifting, and I would thrift like old planters and old macrame. And that's how my house was decorated, my apartment. And then duplex that Collins and I had. And we had tons and tons and tons of plants. And everybody would always tell me, like, you're just like the hippie plant lady. Like, you should open a plant shop. And I wanted, before I even went to college, I really wanted to go to school for horticulture. But I got talked out of it. You know, I was told, like, you're never going to make any money. You're just going to work in, you know, lay landscaping. It's going to be a terrible job. Like, you need to go into healthcare. And 20 years later, like, I still had that calling that, like, the plants are calling me. And everybody always told me that I was good at this and that I should do some kind of plant business. And I never really knew what that would look like. And then, man, I don't know. I did a lot of meditation, and all of a sudden, it's weird how, like, when you quiet the noise, like, things just kind of all of a sudden just become crystal clear. And, like, I woke up one morning and I was like, I'm going to start a plant business. And I, like, instantly, like, made an appointment with the Chamber of Commerce to go and figure out what I needed to do to get a business, if I needed a business license, tax ID, all that stuff. And started just, like, telling everybody that I knew, like, I'm doing this, I'm starting a plant business. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I know from years of personal development that you just have to start. You can't wait until you're ready. You can't wait until it's perfect or, like, all neatly packaged. Like, I didn't have a logo. I didn't know. I kind of knew what my brand was going to be, but I didn't really know. I didn't know where I was going to get plants from. Like, I had no idea what I was doing, but I was like, and I had no money whatsoever. So I just was like, well, I'm just going to flip some of my personal plants, start selling them, tell everybody to come buy some plants for me because this is going to go towards a business. I spent maybe like $200 of my own money, and then flipped that and just made 400, and then kept like putting everything right back into the business for a long time. And that's how it started. It just started totally imperfectly, totally like amateur hour. I had no clue what I was doing. And to see where we are like now in 2 years is kind of crazy. I mean, this was probably, I was trying to be realistic and thinking that it would maybe take me 5 years to get to the point where we are now. So it's been a whirlwind. We hit the ground running and have not stopped at all. I haven't slept.
So, and then every piece of it has just sort of grown on top of another. So like you started, selling the plants, and then it moved into, you said events you're doing now. And I saw you're doing like the parties where the people come and do, I know nothing about plants. So I don't keep things alive very well, but I love that you do all that stuff. I wish I could go and come to a plant party.
Yeah, I think like you have to if you have an idea of what you want something to be, you have to be open to thinking outside the box.
Oops, Megan. Oh no, sorry. Everything's fine. Go ahead.
Sorry, my phone rang. Sorry. You have to be open to thinking outside the box, and you have to be open to you have to be willing to push yourself outside of your comfort zone and do things that you don't really feel like doing. But it's funny because when I first thought of this, I'm like, I'm going to open a plant shop. And I started like dreaming about it, meditating about it, and like trying to manifest this, and like drawing in my journal, like where I would put things. And then everybody kept asking me, well, are you going to do like pop-ups at farmers markets and things like that? And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. It's too much of a hustle for just like a little bit of money, but a whole lot of work. Like I just want to go big. But you need lots of startup capital to go big, like a lot. So I decided that for a while, I was kind of working behind the scenes, and I was taking all of these business classes. There's a really awesome organization called SCORE, and they are usually affiliated with your local chamber of commerce, and they get government funded grants to provide education to entrepreneurs. And I just like, I mean, they will, you can get a, you can take classes on everything possible, like anything you want to know. And so I was doing that, and I was like doing all this research, but then like I wasn't doing a lot of like transactional things. So I was like, I'm not going to grow unless people know who I am. And so I have to really start branding myself and branding what we're doing. And so that's going to be like boots on the ground, showing up in the community, showing up where the people are, and telling like face-to-face interactions. And that has been probably one of the most vital pieces to our growth, has been the connections that we started to make with other local businesses and other, just the people in our communities, the people in our networks, the people in our circle. All of our growth has been 100% organic. Like, it has just been word of mouth. It's because we keep showing up, and we just keep inserting ourselves into rooms that sometimes I feel really intimidated being at, but it's just like, I have super big goals for this business. So you have to be willing, bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. So like, you have to be willing to kind of just do things that you don't feel like you're qualified to do, and just do it anyways and see what happens. So
Yeah.
I think I went off on a tangent there.
That's always how I've seen you, is taking big and brave action no matter what. Was that always how you've been? Like before I even met you, or was this a process of through the personal development or through the action?
Yeah, I think I've always kind of been, I mean, I'm a Leo. I've always kind of been bold and actionable. And even my career, my day job, like, that was I always had big, lofty goals. And I really was moving up pretty quickly through the healthcare system that I worked in pretty quickly. So I just don't, I don't like to wait around for things to happen. I like to do things to make them happen. And then even if they don't happen the way you expect them, or you don't reach that big, huge goal, there might be like 20 other things that you never would have even expected or planned for or had an opportunity for, if you wouldn't have like been shooting for something super, super huge.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's like finding the beauty in the journey, right? Like, we don't know where it's going to end up.
Yeah.
And even like looking at you now, like, I remember what some of our big goals used to be that don't exist in my life at all anymore. But it still brought me to this place, just like yours brought you to your place. And there's so much beauty in that. And I love that so much. So like,
Definitely.
is personal development still a part of your daily life?
No, it should be. When I say that I'm busy, I don't think that like most people really understand what that means. I mean, I get up at 5:30 every day, and usually pass out at like 12:15 at night, after midnight every night. I still work full time. We have a very our business is just to keep up with the growth, that is where all my personal development time is going to. Learning how to build a Shopify website, learning how to automate subscriptions, learning how to edit photos, batch edit blog posts, learning how to use ChatGPT, learning how to do QuickBooks, and learning how to pay taxes, and like all of those things. Like, I just want to play with plants and make them look pretty, but like, to be successful in business, there are like a million different things that you have to like get it together if you really want to be serious about scaling your business and in building like a legacy business for your family. So I've done everything wrong, and I've had to redo it all like 100 times. Literally just finished inventory. Took me 2 years to figure out how to actually do an automate. It's not automated. I still have to enter in every line item, but 2 years for me to track inventory. So I have plants in breweries. I have plants in restaurants. I have plants behind me. I have plants in my store. I have plants all over, and I don't know where they are. Like, I had no way to track it. And so like, that's not good. But so that's kind of where all of my personal development time has gone. I try really hard. I'm actually gonna go do yoga this morning. I'm trying to make little pockets of like self-care and do like some calming things here and there. And like, yeah. I have a stack of books. I have a stack of books that I want to read. And I listen to podcasts in the car and stuff, but it's all about business growth is basically where I'm at now. Like, personal development, I'm like, I'm a shit show. I need to get my mind right. My nervous system is so overactive. But I still hear like all those things that like
you know it, right?
Yeah, like I constantly thinking of the compound effect, constantly thinking. I mean, of all of my books that I have here, like they're right next to me in my office, and my favorites that I've kept. And so Gary Vee, I listen to Gary Vee all the time. So I guess I do some personal development, especially when I get into like a negative mindset, because that kind of comes especially during the slow times, and where I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this month. I don't know how we're going to survive right now. This year has been tough. The first year of our business was like massive explosion. And then it's just, this year has been terrible for small businesses. It's not just me. I'm in network with tons and tons of I'm in several different networking groups. I've watched so many local businesses in my community shut their doors this year, and it's been heartbreaking and devastating. And so, yeah, those are the things that I'm like, wow, I picked a wonderful time to start a business, but really, when is a good time? Like, when is a good time? Like, you just, if you're going to do it, you're going to have to do it now, not when something happens 5 years from now and then you're like, no, because if you don't do it, someone else is going to beat you to it, and they're going to do it. So then you lose.
And you also have that understanding. Like, I think that people that really struggle in business sometimes lack that time, experience, knowledge that it is this like up and down adventure, and you have to learn how to sort of roll on that roller coaster, right? Like, and if you don't have like that basis of understanding of how this works and how it feels really yucky.
Yeah. I mean, you have to listen to the stories of 10,000 hours. Like, people who are successful in things, they didn't just wake up and like exude success. Like, they failed 100,000 times, and you have to like, those are the things you should be inspired by. Those are the types of things you should be filling your feed with and consuming your time with, not like, bullshit celebrity like propaganda. You should be like learning about the people who are either in your industry or adjacent to your industry, or they're just really motivating people. Like, that have done this and have put in the work and they've failed. I mean, I just listened to a podcast. It's actually for landscapers in Florida. And I listen to this podcast all the time because it's so inspiring to hear. He brings on, there's 7 million landscaping companies in Miami. Like, it's like the mecca of the green industry. And just to hear how people like literally lost their businesses, literally went bankrupt, literally lost everything, and then had to rebuild. And some people, that's happened like 2, 3, 4 times over. There's hurricanes, there's, COVID. There's so many things that contribute to how people are spending their money. But sometimes it's just like a pivot point. It's just like a time to say, okay, well, now we have to like regroup. And we have to reset and we have to maybe do something a little bit different. But if that's really what you're called to do, like you need to be in the trenches and dealing with the everything that goes along with it's not a straight line up to success whatsoever. It's a very hard climb.
Yeah. So do you have people that help you? Do you have people that work underneath you or that do certain tasks in your business?
God, I need it so bad. So it's when it takes a village to do this. And I'm not going to get choked up. I've never had people show up for me before like this. And support me and believe in me and give me their precious time and their just pour into helping my business grow and helping my family. And it would not be possible without all of the people that just in some small ways have come and helped me. I can't afford to have people on payroll now. My husband I could not do this without him. He has supported me 100% from the beginning. And he basically gave up I didn't ask him to do this, but he was a professional disc golfer, and he basically retired and gave up that part of his life to help me, because that was his weekends were in tournaments, traveling in tournaments. And my weekends were traveling to different events, and he knew that I couldn't do it without him, and he just, no questions asked, he just did it. He's been there with me. He got laid off last August, so a year ago, and he's not going back to work. I need him to help me because, I still do have a day job. So I'm trying to run a business and trying to also stay employed and have a paycheck and things. So he helps do a lot of the things that I would have to pay somebody to do. But I have two, I guess I would call them like PRN girls that help me at events, and I will pay them for their time, and they're amazing. Shout out Peyton. Thank you so much. I would not be here without you. And then I have a lot of friends who literally just show up. They show up at they'll show up at the end of the event because they just want to be there and hang out for a minute and then help me pack up. Not that I asked them to do it, but that's just the type of people they are. The network of other small businesses that I have connected to and how they have supported me, I could never even begin to thank the way that people have, not even in my industry, but just because I'm lucky enough to live in a community that really loves small businesses, and we understand that we're better together. When one of us is successful, we're all more successful. So our big motto is community over competition. And that has resulted in just so much networking, so much growth. Like people just, I've sat at my friend's brewery for hours and hours while he has literally taught me how to run a business for free, hours and hours and hours. So yeah, I could not. Yesterday, actually, I have another call with him today. I met somebody who helped me fix my website in an hour. And this shit I have been working on for 6 months, and he just did it for free for an hour to help me. So it's crazy, like how many people have come together to help me. Like, I stand on the shoulders of giants. I would not be here if it wasn't for just like people showing up for me and for this business and for my family, and just to be there to support and share. It's been awesome.
That's amazing. I'm so glad that you've had that experience. How did you access that community? Like, how did you find the networking groups? Did you just do a Google search?
Oh God. Some of it was, some of it is you just have to be where the people are. And when you put yourself out there, like I joke with Collins all the time. I'm like, I'm not going to happy hour. This is work. This is business. This is networking. And it is, because I'm talking to the people in my community, and I know who the people are that are going to help my business grow, because you can't just sit at home and wait for somebody to come knock on your door. You have to look at like where are the people at? So yeah, I looked on Facebook for like women's networking groups and things, and I went through like a couple, and they just were not it. It was just like dry cleaning, like, roofing companies coming to like promote their business. Like, it wasn't anything that was helpful. But then I found an amazing network, and it was the shout out to Girl Flock Party. Melanie started an amazing women's networking group, and that has been a huge, like, that's been like, we're all here supporting each other. We're all going to trade services. We're all going to be recommending each other's businesses, and we're all going to do it and have a lot of fun together while we do it. It's more than just business networking. We're friends. We've become friends and had a lot of cool experiences together. But local chamber of commerce is really good. And then some of it has been pure, like, just, I don't, just not coincidence, because there's no such thing as coincidence, but definitely some divine intervention with getting in touch with some people. Tammy who's my business mentor. I call her my fairy godmother. I mean, she literally found me on the street at an event and took me under her wing, and has really, I wouldn't be here without Tammy at all. So she believed in what I was doing, just from, like, we didn't know each other at all, but she knew that she could help me, and she has been by my side for almost 2 years now, like, nonstop. So I don't know, you just have to, like, put yourself out there, shout from the rooftops what you're doing, talk to people about what you're doing, what your goals are. And that's scary, because I've learned a couple of hard lessons, that when you put your hopes and your dreams and your goals and your plans and your ambitions out there, you are putting yourself at risk for people to take advantage of, or take your ideas. And I learned some hard things about, we need to sign a confidentiality agreement before we go any further, because I've had a lot of things that has been one of the hardest things. When I'm like my baby, my passion, my life, and then somebody is like taking that and using it for their benefit. So, but you, again, bigger risk, bigger reward. You have to be able to, if you keep everything inside, then nobody knows what you're doing, and nobody's going to show up to help you because they don't know what you're doing, and they don't. But if people do, and they're like, they have something to offer that can help you, and they show up. They do literally show up. Hey, I'll fix your website for you. Just give me a plan. Like, I mean, things are just crazy the way that like they end up working themselves out sometimes. But yeah.
Well, and I love what you said in the beginning about your network, your friends, how you said, "Hey, I'm starting this business. Like, I'd love your support," right? Like you had to access that. People didn't just know, right? Like you have to actually not just take the action in building a business, but also ask for support, ask for help, be able to say when you need something, or be able to at least see if you can find a resource.
Oh yeah, you have to, because it's impossible to do it all. And in a perfect world, I would have a whole staff behind me. I would, but I don't. We're not there yet, but we're going there. And yeah, I have so many people that just, they give up time with their family. They literally travel. They take their PTO time off work. I mean, things that are just like, I could never repay. No amount of money could ever repay for anybody for the just those simple things. And to them, it's fun and they love it. And again, my friends are people that we want to see each other happy, and we want to see each other grow, and we love when our friends are doing something badass and just killing it. Like those are the types of people, I don't have a ton of really close, I know it's hard sometimes to maintain really close relationships with friends, but I mean, the ones that I do have they are ride or die sisters. So my best friend Kiki is probably like so sick of hearing me. Like, she knows my whole elevator pitch by heart, I'm sure, because everywhere we go, we're together a lot. It's just constantly.
That's good. That's you are,
talking about it. Yeah.
So, okay, so let me ask you this. How do you, or I mean, I don't even say how do you find it challenging? And maybe not because you have this whole network of support around you, but you're in this business on your own. Nobody's knocking on your door to get your work done or learn how to do your Shopify or learn how to build your website. Like, do you ever have trouble motivating yourself to work on your business?
Oh yeah. I would say my biggest struggle, and it has been ADD, ADHD. I have 80 things going on at once all of the time. And those are the things that kind of I struggle with delegating, because nobody knows all the things nobody understands the organized chaos that I have except me, because I'm just constantly going, constantly. And I have, I have half made flyers in Canva. I have half made, projects going on in the garage. I have, something, an order to go pick up. I have an order to place that I have to put in. So I always have like a million things going on, and then I get really overwhelmed. And so that's why I'm really trying to get back to some yoga and meditation, because the ADD has been, it's just, it's not just that, we just live in this lifestyle where we're constantly overstimulated, and we're constantly overscheduled and have a million things going on. Because I mean, I'm a mom too, and we have my daughter has a million things going on too. So we're always trying to like I'm trying to be at two places at once, like three places at once, like all the time. So, and then I do get, again, when it's the slow months, the events that no one's showing up to, yeah, that really kills my motivation. I wouldn't say it's motivation, actually. I would say it's more my belief that I can actually be successful. So then I start getting the self sabotaging, imposter syndrome headspace, and that's not a good space to be in. So, and I'll recognize that, and that's when I have to go turn on Gary Vee and get yelled at, and really or I know that I need to take a weekend off, even though I can't, or sometimes I just need some sleep. And yeah, I struggle more with the self-limiting belief in myself, and with the it's organized chaos, I guess. I know that's a lot of people can relate to that, but so many different fires going on to put out at once. And so I struggle with delegating that because I don't really have time. I don't really have time to explain to people how to do these things. I just do them, and like they all need to get done, all of them. And I have to. So that's why then I go into crazy lady mode and stay up till midnight. And
it's hard
so,
to like get it all done, especially if you like thrive. Like coming from the network marketing world where I felt like I had so many people in it and could like rely on accountability, I'm all on my own now, and I'm like, where are the people that are going to encourage me to do my stuff? Like, and it doesn't matter. Like no one's
I get that. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to be like, did you respond to did you dig out of your, submission forms, and did you get this estimate out to this client? No one is coming to save you. And I get that. It's entrepreneurship is it can be a very lonely place. Nobody understands all of the things that you have to do, and sometimes it means you have to give up things. And I can't make it to this event, or I can't be at this. I mean, my best friend, she also owns a business, so she gets it, and I've helped her with her business. But there's an event we have that I always help her out with, and I can't make it because I have an event that weekend too. And there's nobody. Sometimes it'll be weeks before I'm able to. I mean, even just like talking to my family. I used to talk on the phone to my mom like every single day. Sometimes it's once a week now, and I just don't have that extra bandwidth because it's just so taken with so many different things. And it can be really lonely and overwhelming, especially when you're struggling or like you don't know what to do. But then on the flip side of that, there's also sometimes you just need to put your head down, and you need to like go tunnel vision and execute things, and that requires you to kind of isolate. And sometimes you can hyper focus if you can trick your ADD brain into the hyper focus, and then you can actually like get stuff done. So sometimes, like, I'm a very social person. I love hanging out. I love happy hour. I love my friends. I love to hang out. But yeah, sometimes I just have to kind of go into introvert mode and get it done. And I might not be in a great mood, and I might be my health is not, might not be getting the best self-care, eating right. But those are all things that I'm constantly I know they're important and I need to fix those, but it's, man, your own self comes last when it comes to running such a complicated navigating through this
your big
building.
picture is more time, I would imagine, right? Like your big picture goal is to eventually leave your full-time job. Yeah. So like this is not your forever. This is your right now.
I can't do this for years. Yeah, and I feel like I'm racing against the clock because I'm 41. I'm not 22. I'm not 32. So I see all these young, you have to like get off Instagram and get off like these young, 25-year-old business owners that are like traveling the world for free. And you have to like, okay, that wasn't around when I was there. Like, there's no way that I don't know. It's very old school the way that I have to build this business because it is so hyper local and organic. So things like, this is unrelated, but things like followers and engagement on social media doesn't really matter that much right now to me. What matters is that people are showing up to my events and people know my brand and know who we are. But yeah, I know I forgot what I was talking about. Sorry. to get to this point. I had a point.
No, it's hard. But running a business is hard. Building a business is hard.
Yeah. No, I can't do this. It's not sustainable long term to go this hard. But the goal is, then I look at what I do in my day job and I can't do that shit for another 30 years. No way. Like, I can't. So that's the other thing. It's like, it's do or die. Like this, there is no alternative. There is no, what if this isn't successful? Like it has to be, it will be, because I will never quit. I'll never give up. I don't care what we might not have great months. We might not have great years sometimes, but it's still going to be what I do. So we're just trying to scale to get to the point where, it can be sustainable enough for this to be. And there's a lot of things that I want to do. Like, I have a lot of goals that I want to kind of blend with my background, my clinical background. And I have a couple like dreams that I really want to build, and that's going to require my full undivided full time. So we'll get there eventually. I just can't stop.
It's like choosing your hard, right? Like either you're struggling in your everyday all the time, or you're building this thing that you're super passionate about with the dream of it being your full time.
Yeah, and I wasn't meant to not do something. Like, I wasn't meant to just like come home from work and sit around on the couch and like watch TV. Like, I'm not, that's not who I am. So I might as well be doing something that is going to build something that, my family can benefit from. My daughter could potentially, we can grow this in so many different ways because we are hitting a lot of different kind of different, we're all plants, but then we have kind of different projects and different, we can split that off. We can blend this with a lot of things. I mean, I've worked with realtors, I've worked with interior designers, photographers, different, like, just so many different, and and then I have like friends who own bars, friends who own food trucks, friends who own different boutiques and so many different businesses, and like you can work together to both be mutually successful, or it just, you join forces, you're stronger together. So, but yeah.
Well, I am so proud of you. I think this is so amazing. I'm so grateful that you shared some time here today to share your story because I just think it's so impactful and meaningful. And as I said, you've had such an impact on me that I just wanted you here to share about your business. Where can people
Oh my
find you?
God. So they can find us on Instagram. That's probably where we're most active. Root to Rise Plant Co. on Instagram. And then also our website is roottoriseplants.com. And we're on Facebook too, but don't always update that quite as much. But
You are locally in
yeah, check
Austin.
us out. We always post where we're going to be. We're in the Austin area. We're just north of
Austin
Austin.
area.
We're in
Okay.
Georgetown, which is just about 20. Yeah, just a little bit above Austin. So we service Austin area, but we also service our um, Williamson County, Texas area. So Georgetown, Round Rock, Liberty Hill, all those places, and then all the way to Austin and beyond. So
So cool. So I'll put all that in the show notes, the Instagram and the website, and definitely check her out. I love it. And so many people are into plants. Like I see so many people that are just, they talk to their plants. They just love plants.
yeah, it's nice. They don't talk back to you. They don't give you attitude. Well, actually, some of them do. Some of them are kind of drama queens, but there's something very cathartic about like, especially when you're in a either like you're in a role where you're a helper or you're in crisis mode all day, or like you're a teacher or you're a therapist or you're a healthcare worker, and you're constantly like absorbing other people's energies. You're constantly like trying to solve other people's problems all day long, and then like just coming home and like go having something that you can do that like you can do completely in silence alone, like very like meditative to like dig your hands in the dirt. It's very therapeutic.
Yeah.
That's why people love gardening. That's why people like love plants, because it's just there's something that happens when we're actually it's a connection to nature, and it's a connection to the
What
earth,
if,
and
what if you
it's something
create like
outside
a
of ourselves.
gardening meditation? Like you could totally do that.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, that'd be
Like I
awesome.
turned, because you know me, I don't love meditation, but I now do a walking meditation, and I leave my phone and
Mm-hmm.
I breathe and I look at the sounds and I pay attention to the environment. Like you could totally do that with your plants.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that idea. So we're working on a pretty cool project with a yoga studio right now. Um,
Oh, really?
it's kind of blending plants and yoga together. So,
I
and
love that.
yeah, so there's so many. Yeah, always have all sorts of cool, awesome ideas of how it can. And that's the thing with plants. There's not like one demographic that we're working with. I mean, we have everybody from, I have kindergarten boys that love cactus, and high school girls who are obsessed with plants, to college kids, to everybody in between, every lifestyle, every color, every age, like all the way up to um, senior citizens. And I love, like, I really want to be able to do more. When I do have more time, I want to be able to give back more and do volunteering in things like assisted livings and
Yeah.
children's hospitals and things like that, to help, like, because it can be interactive and it's very therapeutic for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, all digging in the dirt. I can see it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much for coming on, and I wish you all the best. Keep me
Thank you for
posted.
inviting me. I'm so proud of you. This is awesome. Look at
Oh,
you. And I mean, you're just infectious. So I have to, you know, you talked about me, but you were the reason why I rolled my ass out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning, because I knew you were going to be there, and I knew you don't miss a day. Like, your superpower is consistency. So that was a huge inspiration to me, and just a huge keeping me accountable. And you also really helped talk me off the ledge and talk me out of my own head many, many, many times. So your impact is huge, more than you know, and that's why people love to watch you, and people love to hear what you have to say. And your energy is very infectious.
We just cry together.
Yeah.
It's just like, I just want you to know, like, I am always cheering you on for, building a business, putting yourself out there and going after, what you want is awesome, and we need more of it. So I love you forever.
Thank you. Thank you. I know, just anybody out there listening, like, if you feel called to do something, there's a reason for that. Like, it's not meant for you to, like, keep that to yourself. Like, if you feel a pull, if you feel called to do something, if you know you're good at something and that's what makes you happy, figure out how to make that your job. And there is something you can make your job out of anything now. But just know that it's not that easy. It's not as easy as just wanting something. You actually have to put in a lot of freaking hard work that nobody is going to see. Nobody's going to see all of the behind the scenes stuff that you do. And people are going to judge you, and people are going to criticize you and give you unsolicited advice. And I have to constantly remind my face not to be like, thanks. Yeah. But like, I have to be constantly like, thank you. I will consider that. Oh my gosh, I never thought of that before. Thank God you're here sitting next to me, talking to me. But you have to, it's very, it's like we said, it's not a straight line to be successful, but if you really feel that call and that pull, and that's what makes you happy, and that's what you want to do, then there is nothing that's going to stop you from doing it. You're going to be able to do it. It's the only thing that's going to stand in your way is yourself, and your own imposter syndrome, and your own self-limiting beliefs. And sometimes you just have to do it anyways, even when you don't feel like it, even when you feel like a failure. I had a really bad setback this past couple months ago, and it was the hardest thing for me not to just it was the hardest thing I've ever been through as far as being in business. And it was so hard to continue to show up, and it was so hard to continue to do things when I just felt like a complete worthless failure. But the only thing you can do to get out of that is just keep moving forward. I mean, just like running for you, like a marathon or a race, like there's peaks and valleys there. There's times where you're like, I cannot go another step, but you just have to keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I got this. I remember what I'm supposed to do. Remember to breathe. Okay, we got this. And then, yeah, it's the same thing. You just got to keep going. So,
yeah. So many amazing lessons, and it's just it's wild, but like I wouldn't change it for anything. Like I love rediscovering myself and learning more about myself, and I love that this is the business you're doing after you loved plants and someone shit on your idea years ago. Could you be mad that you didn't?
I mean, it's never going to go away. If you
probably needed
that's
this
what
whole
you're meant to
journey.
do. That's what you're.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. I had to learn a lot of things in order for me to have the resilience and then the knowledge and the strength to continue to do this now. Like I had to go through a lot, and I had to do other things. I had to do other business, try other hustles, try other things. And it's okay that you pivot. It's okay that you change, but just because you're going to learn from everything that you do. And so, just constantly growing. Otherwise, yeah, definitely.
Well, I love you. Keep me posted. And
I love you too. Thank you.
We'll talk soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for letting me come on. It was so much fun.
Of